Hello, and welcome to one of the latest episodes that we've ever started.
Yeah.
This is the Pinfall Podcast, and I'm your host, Liz, and my co-host, Marcus, is beside me.
Yeah. This is
That's not how I
NXT.
normally introduce the episode.
It's not. Well, you shook things up a little bit. So some people may be wondering, where were you guys yesterday? You normally do a Raw post show and recap and review. Well, we were a little busy last night, so we had to cancel the Raw podcast. And so tomorrow, to replace that, there will be an AEW Dynamite post show. What? Yeah. Yeah. So,
Which we realized only after the fact that it kind of still screws up somebody's schedule, but we're gonna just make it work.
yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you'll be back in time. But,
Be back in time.
well, yeah. Is it your schedule that's screwing up? Because you're going out? Or maybe going out for the doctor's appointment?
That's Thursday.
I thought it was Wednesday, or it was Wednesday or Thursday.
No, I'm supposed to go upstate on Wednesday, but I'm not
Oh,
doing that anymore.
okay.
That's why it
Okay.
screws up my schedule.
Gotcha. All right. So this is NXT. It wasn't even a very big card on paper, but it was a lot of fun. The lover or loser match was fantastic. Then we had Roddy versus Bobby. We had another NXT Breakout Tournament match with Joe Gacy versus Trey Baxter, not to be confused with Trey Miguel. We had Cameron Grimes and LA Knight versus GYV. Hit Row versus Legato, that ended in a hilarious way. Yeah, all around great show. And we had there was one questionable promo with Zoe Stark and Io Shirai that was hilariously bad.
I don't know how I feel about that one at all. It was one of those promos where like I kind of thought as I was watching, I was like, this feels not good. And then I saw everyone else's reaction, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was so bad that it was so funny. And Brewhammer TX is in chat saying InDex stuff was fantastic. Hadn't been into a thing like that since George the Animal Steel and Miss Elizabeth. It's nice that they're kind of
um
going back to these cheesy love stories. The NXT does it so well.
yeah. Um but yeah, I it was just funny because like half the reviews of the Zoe Stark promo were like, oh, I didn't like that so much. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was like maybe in bad taste. And then the other half was like, I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, yeah, because you have like this felt like NXT trying to run it back to old WWE tropes. Like the index stuff is taking something great, like those cheesy romance storylines, but then you have the Zoe Stark and Io Shirai promo, which is like running it back to uh American doesn't understand quirky foreigners culture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
it's a little out of
ugh.
touch.
But we'll get into it.
Yes, we will. You want to start with the news?
Yeah.
You want me to start with my little thing that I got? It's very short.
That really depends on what my news is because
Do you not know
I
what
don't
your
know if I've
news
got any.
is?
Well, I don't know if I've got any AEW news.
Okay.
You know, I like to do it in order.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah, I do have some news that should go ahead of it. Um, and first things first, let's make this size 30 font because it's just
You
shapes
could
now.
just wear your glasses.
No, because the light reflects off of it and you can't even see my eyes.
Yeah, but you could be like
So
a quirky anime character.
That's been my goal this whole time. You're right.
Yeah, and you've been one step away.
Little did I know. Okay, so let me open up the Twitter. So first things first, Jody Hamilton, the assassin, passed away at 82. Um, he was in WCW, a variety of roles, and then he also relaunched Deep South Wrestling in 2005, which was developmental for WWE for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Former WWE and WCW referee Nick Patrick, his son, broke the news on Facebook. So, our condolences to his family, and yeah, I mean, 82 is not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty much a full life.
Yeah. So, our condolences. But moving on past that, the only other I'll consider the two pieces of news I have outside of this next one, WWE. But the only other one that I have that is non-WWE is Callisto trademarked something. He trademarked the term Lucha Gore guys.
Lucha Gore guys?
Yes.
Hardcore lucha tag team?
I guess.
Okay.
Sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, I wonder what luchador he'd be teaming up with.
Well, I don't know. But he did file to trademark Samurai del Sol, which was a ring name that he formerly used to use.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
sounds like he's got some plans. Also, he trademarked it through Manny Money Productions LLC, which means he's still supported by somebody or represented.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Anyways, on to your news, which I saw, but I didn't write down.
Okay. So, Ronda Rousey spoke up about the Bray Wyatt situation and him being released and provided a different perspective on it. This is just to open up a discussion rather than be actual news. So she tweeted, "I've seen you same fans, quote unquote, chanting hashtag we want Wyatt last night," which shows she watches Raw. Chanting "we want beach balls" over Bray Wyatt performing. If the WWE treated him like he was expendable, it was because you ungrateful idiots did first. I don't know about that one, Rhonda.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, big words for somebody that literally the fans want nothing to do with.
She also hates the fans. Like, if there's one thing she hates more than anything, it's WWE fans. But from what I've seen, the majority of WWE fans love Bray Wyatt, but hate how WWE presented him. Because he was a fantastic performer, and no iteration of Wyatt was bad. But every time they got so close, every time they did something great, they just had to turn it around, like that squash match against Goldberg. But meanwhile, you had like him terrorizing the Miz. That was great.
Yeah.
Him against Daniel Bryan was great. Him against Randy Orton was great until it went just a bit long, and then Alexa Bliss came in. But even then,
there were rumors that he even knew that he was being released before anybody else did. Basically because I think some people are saying we misinterpreted that comment that the Firefly Funhouse, that last episode, was supposed to be like a farewell. Some people are saying we misinterpreted that comment. And then you mentioned that they didn't have the rights to the Firefly Funhouse music, which is interesting because they changed Alexa Bliss's walkout.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had it licensed from Universal Library. But I mean, him knowing he was getting released is kind of contradictory to them saying that he was supposed to come back like next week.
But that just shows that creative didn't know what was going on, which is not new.
Hmm.
You know?
I don't know. Would that be creative? Like him scheduled to come back? I feel like
I think so.
that would be him. Him saying, "Hey, I'm
No,
returning."
I feel like that's creative saying we have a storyline that's supposed to start on this day, so he's going to be back on this day. Because ideally, in the world of creative, when you have a storyline, everyone else in the building understands that's what's going to happen. Which,
I feel like there's some opinions that rank higher than creative. Like,
well, no, what I'm saying is, I think creative's voice is louder as far as like saying when people are going to be coming back.
mm-hmm.
Because who the hell did they do this to? Where that he was supposed to come back, and creative didn't even know that he was Alistair, literally Alistair.
Mm-hmm.
Creative, as far as they knew, they were bringing him back when they did, but he wasn't supposed to stay because nobody in creative knew that.
Right. So so what you're saying is there's like they can't do anything creative until they know somebody's coming back.
Right. Yeah.
So then the people scheduling him rank higher than creative, or the people in charge of bringing him back.
No, what I mean, what I mean is that creative is the one who's saying like this story is supposed to start here.
Mm-hmm.
So this person's coming back at this point. If there's voices above them saying, "Oh, this guy's actually getting fired," and they don't hear that, we hear creative first before we hear the people upstairs saying, "No, this guy's released."
To be fair, we never hear of creative. We just hear from Vince McMahon and Nick Khan and
I mean, I assume we hear from creative whenever we hear that X, Y, and Z storylines going in this direction or this direction or this direction. I assume that's got to be somebody in creative or a source getting information from creative.
there's so many people in creative that there's so many conflicting stories now.
Yeah, I don't know. And speaking of conflicting stories, um, the the truth behind Ric Flair getting released is foggier than it has been before.
Mm-hmm. I think it cleared up. I don't think it's any foggier.
Well, so I heard originally that Ric Flair asked to be released
Mm-hmm.
because he hated the Lacey Evans storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm hearing that he went to Vince with information, like, or with an opinion as to how Charlotte was being booked and like ideas for how she should be booked, and then he got released.
Well, I heard he complained about the storyline, said he had a problem with the Lacey Evans storyline, and that led to him being canned.
I guess it's technically the same story at the end of the day. Um, it's just whether he asked for his release or not.
Oh.
But I don't think he did.
I have the article from Wrestling Observer Radio from Dave Meltzer. It says people he knows who are closer to the situation than he is told, or he is have told him that Rick complained about Charlotte's booking to Vince, and Vince decided to let him go, like you said. He does say that Rick and Tony Khan have been good friends for years, but Tony wasn't going to ask Rick to ask for his release. But now that he's available, Meltzer says it's definitely possible AEW signs him for some kind of role, but he does leave the door open for Rick and WWE to make up. It's a weird one because it's like I can't see them having Rick do promos, even though I guess he could be a heel manager, but he shouldn't be a heel at this stage. But there's got to be something you can do with him. If he's not with WWE at this stage, then he's got to be with AEW. But I just don't know what they can do with him. So there's chance they might get back. Rick Flair might come back. But yeah, it's what you said. Rick was complaining about Charlotte Flair. Her booking.
Complaining about Charlotte, just in general. And then the other piece of news that I have is a piece of news I feel like everyone has been talking about, which is Adam Cole. Who knows what the fuck's going on in his life?
I mean, with what happened today, it's even weirder.
Well, Well, I guess like I would be more worried, but because he's coming back next week, I don't feel as like conspiratorial on this one.
They say he's coming back next week.
Yeah, he and Kyle have something mediated by Regal next week.
Oh, because they said
Yeah.
he was injured with a spinal.
That's kayfabe.
Yeah, but it's some excuse for something.
Well, what he's doing next week is just talking. So, but it turns out that his contract is fucked up. I think his contract expires before WWE realized it expired. There's rumors that that's why Canyon Ceman was released because he may have been the one in charge of that. And it seems like Adam Cole has been offered contracts by the WWE and has denied such contracts. Which I'm glad we aren't the type of people anymore that refuse to watch AEW. Because I get a funny feeling.
Yeah.
Get a funny little itch.
There was a source saying that he had rejected multiple contracts, but that's a very sketchy source that like nobody's ever heard of.
Right.
So that's very much up in the air right now. I think it was like PW Unlimited was the source.
Okay. But yeah, so that's curious. I'm interested to see how that's gonna go. Sean Ross Sapp did say though that like this has happened multiple times before with Adam Cole, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I do recall this happening last year because his I think something came up last year with us at the same time. But I feel like every year we get closer and closer to seeing like 90% of the big names on the roster just going to AEW. I mean, when they announced that, they were like, oh, well, somebody big's getting released. You and I both were like, oh, it's definitely Randy. Randy's got to be gone.
Yeah.
But
also real quick, they just announced a new match for NJPW Resurgence. And it's going to be with Moose. Yeah. Moose is facing, I think, is Tomohiro Ishii. Might be getting the first name wrong. I just saw it somewhere, but I can't find it. But yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Is that another
House
pay-per-view
match.
that we have to watch?
I don't even know. We'd probably be able to find it on Fight TV, so.
No, NJPW has like their own app.
I think this is on Fight TV as well. I think. Yeah, Tomohiro Ishii versus Moose.
Nice.
Yeah, English commentary is on Fight TV.
Okay. I think we should challenge ourselves, Mark.
Oh my god, it's so much money. How much is it?
Oh no, I meant we should challenge ourselves and listen to the non-English version.
This one's only $20.
Not everybody's ripping our wallets out of our hands like AEW. Just kidding, guys. You only cost us a couple more dollars a year.
All right.
And it's usually worth it.
All right, so matches and promos. We ready to get into this episode with the recap and shit? All right, so we started off the episode immediately with Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma.
I can't stand hearing that fucking chant.
I don't mind hearing it in the song, but I hate when the crowd does it.
Right, that's what I mean. In the song, it's like, okay, you're supposed to be doing this right now.
Yeah, I think is that BFAB herself doing that?
I think so, because it sounds just like her when she does it in person.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's begin. So right off the bat, we're fucking brawling. Hit Row basically evacuate Legado from the ring. We go into this match with Mendoza versus Shante the Adonis. Adonis whips Mendoza into the corner, spears him, whips him into another corner, spears him. Third time, Irish whips him into the corner, and Mendoza just fucking eats off of it. Mendoza, however, gets an upper hand. He starts thumping Adonis's head into the buckles. We get a DDT though to Mendoza, and then Adonis goes off the top for a crossbody. Mendoza is not home. He is rolled away. He gets Wild in. Wild and Ashante are exchanging blows. There's a neckbreaker to Wild. Wild is then. I knew that was coming. I was trying to race it out. Wild gets slammed into the top buckle of the hit row corner, and Top Dollar gets in. Joaquin Wild slaps Top Dollar, and Top Dollar just fucking lifts him by like the armpit, which I would have been fucking writhing.
Yeah.
But on Mr. Wild. So after lifting him, he shoulder tackles Wild, lifts him again, places him on the top buckle, literally with one hand. It was really incredible, actually. And then assists him down onto the mat by way of Wild's arm. We get a chop to Wild. Ashante gets back in. He's whipped into Wild, who sends an elbow backwards. He then dodges Top Dollar as Top Dollar runs into the corner. Wild then tries to get a flying head scissors off on Top Dollar. But in the process, Ashante drop kicks him, and Top Dollar just like stands there and lets Wild fall off of him. So Wild goes up, then down, right into the mat. The ref then is distracted by Hit Row and Santos as they argue in the corner. And then Mendoza, in the process, unloads Adonis from the ring. Wild and Adonis are the two in post-commercial break. Wild drives Adonis into the corner, clotheslines him, and we're like off to the fucking races with that thing that Legato do, where it's like one person in clotheslines, one after the other. We get a moonsault from Mendoza onto Adonis off of the ropes. I don't know why I'm tired. I took naps today. There's some punches to the midsection of Mendoza. We get a failed knee strike to Adonis and then an airdrop dropkick to Mendoza. Top Dollar gets in. Wild gets in. We get a sidewalk slam and the weird fucking... It's not a kip up. Like a somersault into standing. What Top Dollar does. Love to see the man kip up, but I like his little maneuver, if you will. And then Top Dollar stands a little too close to the apron. Out of nowhere, with virtually no wind-up whatsoever, is just Santos Escobar slapping a chair into the ass of Top Dollar.
Oh, that was so good, because what did he say right before he did that?
I didn't hear him.
He did the thing, like the three fingers down, and said like, I don't know, like, if you know, now you know, or something. Said like a catchphrase, went to the ropes, and immediately got smacked in the ass.
Oh yeah, okay. It's just so funny because like the way the camera angle was too at the time, because we just cut to like Santos mid slap, and it's just like just him.
And
so
good.
This unleashes a whole kerfuffle. It DQs the match.
I don't even mind this DQing because it was just so funny.
Yeah. This was a fun DQ. And basically it ends in Legato standing in the ring thinking that they're hot shit, and then B-Fab comes out of absolutely nowhere and fucking slaps Joaquin Wild. As always.
Yeah.
With a chair.
Yeah. But
Joaquin Wild's always ready to take that hit for the team, man.
This feud is gonna be so fun. I can't wait. So after that, we get Samoa Joe backstage with Regal. Regal brings in a bunch of people, and Samoa Joe's like, "Oh, god damn it!" And Regal says, "Now that you're back to being an NXT competitor, these gentlemen will stay with you to make sure nothing happens to you or Carrion before takeover." And then we get Dexter Lumis after commercial in that room with all the drawings of him and Indy. Right before, Ridge Holland versus Ikemen Jiro.
Okay. And Godridge is back on 2 legs. God bless. Still walking out with the man who shattered his 2 legs, which is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. We get an uppercut to Ikemen and a drop knee to the eye. Ikemen gets a stunner to Ridge, and then Ridge hits a couple of strikes to the head of Jiro. Ridge puts Jiro on the top rope, sends him to the ground, chucks him at the barricade. And by putting him on the top rope, I mean, like, he literally, in the middle of the span of the ropes, just places Ikemen on top of it and then just shoves him off. But yeah, chucks Jiro at the barricade. We get a fist to the face of Jiro, and then a Northern Lights suplex and a drop knee to the face of Jiro again. There's a knee to the back of Jiro's head, and then he tears Ikemen's jacket off. Ikemen shoves Ridge, gets fucking hit with an inverted double underhook suplex, and then a second one. Finally, there's a headbutt to Jiro. Jiro gets fucking planted in the ground, and Ridge Holland won. Bless his soul.
Yeah, it was a squash match, but Ridge looked good. Good to see that he's in good shape now after his legs exploded.
He's in incredible shape.
Yeah. Wish they would do a better job with his character. I don't know what they should change, but something seems wrong. You know? Something just doesn't click. Like, he's trying to go for like the Peaky Blinders kind of character.
This was your complaint with him when we first saw him too, actually.
Yeah. And you would have thought with all this, with 10 months away, they'd be able to make some kind of change, but no, I can't tell if like he needs to be dirtier or if he needs like I don't know.
It's a very main roster gimmick.
I wouldn't even like it's a main roster ruthless aggression or attitude era gimmick. Like this is like that kind of character is very old fashioned WWE. I don't even know. I don't know. They got to rework something with him. Make him more like Pete Dunne. Make him like lose the baton. Baton's silly, especially since it's so small.
And he doesn't really use it.
Give him like just a full blown baseball bat like Chris Jericho.
Maybe give him a full-blown baseball bat, unlike Chris Jericho, who has a 5-year-old girl's softball bat.
Well, it'll grow in proportion.
Ah.
Yeah.
I see.
All right. So after that, Oni and Pete get in the ring, and Pete says, Tommaso Ciampa thought he was bad until the 3 of us stepped into the room. Thatcher, Holland is back, and he will knock out your teeth. This is what happens when you step to us. We are the 3 most dangerous men in NXT. I like how they're leaving out Danny Burch from the equation. What happened? He got the separated shoulder, right? Same thing Karrion had. Man.
I mean, that means that he's going to be out for probably... He was supposed to be out for about 9 months when that happened, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We then get an interview with Robert Stonebrand. Frankie Monet says, what happened last week is due to Robert Stone's interference. You both are used to losing. Frankie Monet is not used to losing. If this will work, it has to be rebuilt in Frankie's image and Frankie's rule. So take it or leave it. Robert Stone's like, are you taking it, Jesse? It's all crystal clear to me. Crystal clear to Robert Stone. And then we get, right after that, Bobby Fish versus Roderick Strong.
I didn't realize that they were trying to push Frankie Monet as a heel. But if they are, they did a good job. Mm-hmm. And if they aren't, they didn't do a good job. However, Bobby versus Roddy, my 2 men. It's a really long period of time where they're just locked up for most of it. Um, Roddy gets in position to kind of hit a dragon screw on Bobby, but Fish gets a side headlock instead. We get a shoulder tackle to Strong and then a knee to the stomach of Fish. Fish drives Roddy into the corner, strikes him. We get a kick to Strong and then several strikes to Fish. Fish then kicks the leg from under Roddy. Fish then turns that sweet little hip of his, strikes Roderick right in like the fucking chest area. Strong comes out of the corner though, stomping on Bobby after the commercial break. We get a suplex to Bobby and a nasty fucking backbreaker, as anyone should expect in this match. Roddy then gets Bobby down into a bit of an abdominal stretch. Fish, as it was pointed out, there's irony here, but Fish uses the fish hook to break the hold.
He used the fish hook to break the strong hold. Hey.
Aww.
Hey.
Raps. Good.
Got him.
God bless. So Bobby gets a couple kicks off onto Strong and then hits him with a mule kick to the stomach that Roderick sells like a goddamn anime character. Like he just fucking yeets himself backwards.
He sold it like he was in a movie and being pulled by the I forget what it's called, by the cord, the rip cord.
Like in like vaudeville.
Not even vaudeville.
Like the cane where they yank people off.
Like Fast and Furious. Like how a punch from The Rock could send you flying across the room.
I've never seen the Fast and Furious, so I'll take your word for it. We get a belly to back to Fish. Roddy does his goofy ass fucking skip to my loo bullshit that I love. I love it. I just think it's funny. And I get that like it's his thing. It's goofy. We get a big slam to Fish into the ground. And then a roundhouse to Strong. Strong sends Fish out of the ring, but nearly gets rolled up as Fish re-enters. Finally, though, Roddy hits a backbreaker onto Fish to win, and Tyler Rust could not be fucking happier. My dude just immediately comes through to give Roddy a big ol' hug, and I was like, Roddy found friends that love him.
Also, Kevin Owens tweeted that he is also in Diamond Mine because on an episode of SmackDown he wore a Malcolm Bivens shirt. So he's in Diamond Mine, but he says he doesn't have to wrestle at all.
Okay. Well, you know, good for him.
Yeah. I would love to see him just with Malcolm Bivens in an episode. That'd be so fun.
The Kevin Owens that's on Twitter is the Kevin Owens I miss, because I feel like the Kevin Owens we have now is still like so serious. And I miss Goofy Kevin.
Yeah. Like Kevin Owens from that one KO show on NXT, like the last one. I forget who it was with. Remember, I think it was with Leon Ruff. And Damian Priest. And Johnny.
Oh, Leon Ruff.
That's when he was like, alright, we don't need the fucking chairs. Just take these out of here. Miriam said that Kevin Owens said the other guys pay Bivens a membership fee too. So Roddy has to pay up every month.
Aw. No, sometimes you have to pay to have good friends.
Okay. Okay. So then after that we get Cameron Grimes and LA Knight in the locker room before their match. Cameron Grimes brings Knight his gear. Says, mind if I get ready, Knight? Changed out of this. And LA Knight says, no, dummy. That's what you're wearing to the ring. But think about GYV. Because I don't trust you. I'm a man of my word. That's why I'm wearing this to the ring. And so we get Cameron Grimes and LA Knight versus grizzled young veterans, soon to be recognized as golf champions.
He said goth, and I was like,
Goth champion, yeah, there we go. But yeah, Cameron Grimes is in his butler uniform that looks like it's made out of plastic.
windbreaker material.
Yeah.
So Grimes is in for about 5 seconds before Knight gets in. I looked away for a moment, and suddenly he was out. So, Knight's in with Gibson. Gibson gets tossed into the buckles, and God, did I miss this, but James Drake softens the blow, which I could be proven wrong here. Could be. But it seems like James Drake is always the one that's got to, like, throw his body on the line to soften the blow for Gibson.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that.
Your own weight, Zach. James Drake gets in off of that. We get a knee to Knight, and then Drake wants a suplex, but Knight goes up and over. It's Drake with a neck breaker. Grimes gets in. There's a crossbody down onto James Drake. Gibson gets in. He tosses Grimes into the middle rope. Drake gets back in. We get a forearm strike from Gibson and a knee from Drake to Grimes. Gibson gets in. He loads Drake. Drake gets loaded out by Grimes, but Grimes is then thrown into a sleeper by Gibson. There's a back body drop to Gibson from Grimes. Grimes goes to tag out, but Knight says, yeah, on the flip side. And James Drake gets in after that. Grimes starts fighting those two men on his own. He tosses Drake into Gibson, hits a double Hurricane Rana.
Yeah, that was fucking insane. It was like a poison Rana, kind of. I couldn't. Really
I don't know
tell.
if he had an option.
Yeah.
Then a strike sends Gibson off the apron, hangs Drake up against the rope. Grimes goes off the top rope, but James Drake avoids. It doesn't matter. Grimes fucking Puma tackles James Drake's soul out of his body. Gibson then distracts. He gets in. They get a ticket to Mayhem. And Grizzled Young Vetsman.
Such a
Cameron
cool
put up a
name.
great showing.
He did. He put up a great showing. And that might reflect in our bests of the night. So after that, Ted DiBiase comes out and he helps up Cameron and says, "See, I told you. He's gonna turn his back on you. And came to bite you." But it's nice to see Ted still a good old mentor to Cameron, because I think commentary said that Cameron is the one who wants to follow in Ted DiBiase's footsteps, not LA Knight. Which is the whole point of this whole story. But after that, we have a vignette of Dakota Kai to explain her actions from last week. She said, "I needed someone I could trust, and I saw her. If it wasn't for me, she'd still be nothing. Early on, it was standing behind me and watching. She ran through everybody in my way. Then you became a star in your own right. I let Raquel get those victories. And let's be real, everyone knew who the leader was. Takeover Stand and Deliver, the biggest takeover in history, and EO picks Raquel. She didn't think to give me the opportunity. After giving her everything, I put her in the spotlight, and she stole that opportunity. With my help, she beat EO. It should have been me. I should have had my hand raised. I should have been in the ring with Bianca and Rhea. I just wanted her to return the favor, but she didn't care. She didn't put her heart or soul into anything after getting the title. I was known as Raquel's sidekick after that. I'm no one's sidekick. The only person's back I should be having is my own. The funniest thing is you didn't even see it coming. You're so oblivious, so wrapped up in your own world. Raquel, you said there was no one left. How about me? I brought you into this world. Now I'm going to take you out of it." Spoken like a mother. Do you think she says that to like her dog to like if her dog is like peeing on things, she's like, "I took you into this world, I could take you out of it."
Like that's like the whole point of having like a child, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just so you could say that.
She's at line once.
Then we get an interview with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. Johnny says, "We both have been champions. We both fought at takeovers, but this tonight ranks up there." Candice says, "Who knows what's best for Indy?" And Johnny says, "We do. We know what's best for Indy. The fate of the family rests in my hands. The fate of Indy's life rests in my hands. Tonight I end InDex." Candice, as they're walking away, says, "For good." And then we can get a little Joe Gacy vignette before their match, which is right now. Trey Baxter versus Joe Gacy. Which I did not expect this outcome.
Yeah, I didn't either, actually. Simple match. Gacy tosses Trey, twice. There's some boots to the face of Gacy, but Gacy gets a clubbing blow to Baxter. He then tries to stomp on Baxter, but Baxter avoids it. Baxter flies out to Gacy, who catches him, hits him in the face. Gacy then accidentally lifts Baxter to... lofts Baxter to his back. Baxter gets a sleeper hold on Gacy, but Gacy slings him off. Baxter then starts avoiding Gacy on the ground, kicks Gacy in the head a couple times to pull him down, I guess. Then gets some clubbing blows to the chest of Baxter, and then a big suplex outside into Baxter. Trey gets a jawbreaker to Gacy and then gets tossed into the corner. Trey dodges a charging Gacy, drop kicks him, flies out onto Gacy, does it a second time, and then a third time, but this time, instead of like flying out, like flying, he like moonsaults. Gacy, however, gets back into the ring first. Baxter, I don't know what he did here to get back in, but Vic seemed pretty impressed. He gets the sleeper on Gacy again. Gacy starts ramming Baxter into post after post to get him off. He lifts Baxter to the top turnbuckle. Baxter bops down, hangs Gacy up on the top rope, and then it's like a 450 stomp. Mr. Gacy?
That was crazy. You could write that off as being unintentional, like he could have just accidentally landed on his feet, but imagining it's a 450 stomp. That's insane.
I just stressed me out.
Yeah. So after that, we had Io Shirai and Zoe Stark at a sushi restaurant. Or a Japanese restaurant. At first I thought it was just sushi. Zoe says, "We need to form a bond like you and Kairi Sane." That's a great way to start a promo. And I was cackling at that moment. Holy fuck, it was so bad. Oh, I thought we were past that. Anyway. Io starts speaking Japanese to the waitress. And then she turns for Zoe to order. And Zoe says, "I'll have what she's having." And she brings a ton of food out. Zoe fumbles with the chopsticks and hates her food. Yeah, this whole Io Zoe thing was just, it was not good. She said, "You and I are starting to bond. I feel like you like me more." As she's like pretending to eat her food and just wrapping it in a napkin and throwing it on the floor.
Just in bad taste.
Like, has she never been to a Japanese restaurant or any kind of Asian restaurant before? Has she never been to one? She's at least 30 years old.
It's also just like, it's one of those things where like, maybe not the best choice because like, I know for a fact like, a lot of Asian food is often stereotyped as being like weird and like gross.
Yeah.
I feel like using that trope in this was like, uh-oh.
Like the was it octopus or squid or the tentacles she was having, which by the way, those would be delicious. Like I would love to have those right now.
I'm sure.
And then Io gets up and starts talking to the waitress after getting the bill. And as Zoe was going in for a hug, Io just slams the bill right into her chest. And I don't think Zoe ended up actually paying the bill. I think she just walked out.
Yeah, because then she talked to the waitress.
Yeah, asked if she knew Io, and she was like, no, we just speak the same language. Which also, just because two people speak the same language does not mean they're going to be friendly.
I think it's like that cultural understanding at least, and then that sets us up for Zoe apparently going to learn Japanese, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a miracle we didn't get that with like Bobby Fish and Kushida. Could you imagine? Oh my god. Oh my god, that would have been hilarious. Oh, I don't want to know where this goes. And since they're champions, like there's no way of escaping it. Because we have to see more of this next week. Like at first this was fine. They're just like two like the reason Eos is not friends with Zoe is because she's a lone wolf. She doesn't like making friends so much. She just likes being a singles competitor, which is fine. That's a good story. Zoe will eventually open her up and that'll be that. But now we're getting yes, Miriam, they're still the champions. Now the reason they're having this divide is because of Io's culture. That feels so far out of like the 90s. Even the early 2000s, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like we're
It's just
past that.
It didn't sit right
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to watch them wrestle. That's all I care about. Alright, so after that we get an interview with Indy Hartwell where she's asked who she's rooting for in this match. She says it's complicated. On one hand, you got family, and on the other, true love. I'm not saying I'm pulling for him, but if Dexter won, they won't see he's such a bad guy. I guess we'll find out if it's meant to be. I got some bad news, Indy.
Or not.
Yeah, at the same time, who knows what's gonna come out of that? I feel like that's exactly what they intended with making the ending to that match. Like, it's so up in the air now on what's gonna happen next week. But then we get.
I'm just gonna say I'm wondering if they're gonna pick up the way now.
I don't think so. I could see them like Johnny and Candace next week being like, well, he risked the match to make sure you were okay. So we'll give him a chance now. It'll be weird having him replace Austin Theory from like a fucking chatterbox to the exact opposite.
You think we're ever gonna get like closure on the Austin Theory thing?
Oh, we're gonna see him on the main roster, and that's gonna be it. Which sucks. I wish the main roster gave like at least like a certain amount of time to make sure that NXT can wrap up whatever they need to before call-ups happen. So we get Karrion in the ring next. He stands on the fucking announce desk or something and says, "You can't control this place, Joe. You can't now. You couldn't then. Who provoked who? Ask yourself." And Joe comes in and he's being held back by security. Karrion fucking, he dips. And Joe's just fighting security at this point. Puts one dude in a cookie in a clutch and just says, "I'm coming for you." After that, though, we get a very cool prime target for Dragunov versus Walter. Yeah, Joe manhandling the security is one thing I've been wanting to see since he joined NXT. So the prime target, Ilya says, the whole world was talking about our first match. They couldn't believe what they saw in the ring. They remember who wins, but they forget those who lose. Something in me was broken after that match. How could I be a dominant person like you? I went on a path of violence. Now's the chance to fight. I think, yeah, Regal says this rivalry has been the most aggressive in the industry, let alone in NXT. Walter says NXT TakeOver is a big stage. For Ilya, this is the match of his life. To this day, I'm unbeatable. Ilya says, you don't know the strength I have. Walter says, he doesn't have the mental ability. Everybody will know what Ilya really is, full of doubt and fear. Ilya says, I'm gonna expose you. And Walter says, you are wrong. And then we get a vignette of Kushida right before the main event. He says, Roderick Strong, I hear you. You want a title shot? You got it. I love just Kushida taking on all these challengers, like, without any resistance. He's just like, yeah, bring everyone on. I don't care.
Yeah.
I really hope he beats Roddy because I want more time of Kushida as champ. I feel like we haven't really gotten very far into it.
I don't know. I don't know if they plan to go that far into it.
Yeah. I don't know. Santos just did such an amazing job as cruiserweight champ that it like literally redefined the cruiserweight division. Kushida, I just wanted to see him be like fighting endlessly, defending the title. But I at least want Roddy to lose the first time, and then have a rematch, and he'll win the second time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or have Tyler Rust win it so that Roddy can win like the North American or the NXT title.
There we go.
I think
That's
that's
the real idea.
Unless they plan on really elevating the cruiserweight title, have Roddy hold that and Tyler Rust go for the North American title, which will make the cruiserweight title feel just a little higher up. But now we have the main event, Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis in a love her or lose her match. This was incredible. This was so fantastic.
It upsets me almost because like they did such a good job of having Johnny like come out with that t-shirt and he was like, this is my family, and I was like,
and then you see Austin Theory on that shirt too, and you're like, oh honey. He's
was
gone.
your family, sweetheart.
Yeah. Although it will be very easy to Photoshop Austin Theory out and Dexter Lumis in. You just put a mustache on Theory. That's it. Lighten up his hair a little bit.
Like some bleached, some frosted tips.
Yeah.
If you will. Right. So when Johnny started being like so nice, I was like, I don't really know who the heel is in this position right now.
That's what I love about this. Like you have this, you have Legato versus Hit Row. You don't know who to root for. It's great.
So we get a side headlock on Loomis and an arm drag to Dexter back to back. An arm drag to Johnny over and over and a drop kick for good measure. Gargano suckers Loomis to the apron, begins slugging him, suplexes him onto the ringside area. Like it's not talked about enough, but like the fact that Johnny, who's a smaller dude, can suplex Loomis, who's a pretty man. Kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Once back in the ring, Loomis just fucking tackles Gargano. We get a back elbow to Gargano. Loomis then slips on out of the ring and then vanishes. Indy goes down after him. Johnny drags her out and drags Dexter out at the same exact time. Get a spinebuster to Dexter back in the ring and then a bulldog to Johnny right into a back to belly and a drop leg. Johnny then dives out onto Dexter. He goes for the slingshot spear, but Dexter avoids it, hits a springboard Falcon Arrow instead. Go off the top rope, but Johnny isn't there. Dexter lands on his feet. They're exchanging blows for a little while. There's a super kick to Dexter and a super kick to Johnny. Loomis goes off the ropes to hit a drop elbow onto Johnny, but Johnny rolls away before Dexter can make contact. Gargano gets the Gargano escape locked in, but Loomis manages to caress Indy's cheek and then reach the top rope. Time. Gargano and Candice then are too busy scolding Indy to notice that Loomis is about to roll Johnny up. Johnny kicks out. Loomis gets sent backwards into Indy's head. We get a DDT to Loomis ringside, and then one final beat back in the ring for Dexter Loomis to lose. But did he really lose? Did he?
Because Indy Hartwell, after the match, she lags behind a little bit when they're walking up the ramp. But she looks back at Dexter. She runs after him, tackles him, and smooches him right on the lips.
Gloriously smooches him.
And Beth Phoenix died of happiness. It was great. A great moment.
Yeah.
It's rare to find a love story like that actually like works real well. This is great.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where.
Yeah. Also, real quick, I just thought of the future for a second, and thought about Karrion and Samoa Joe. Do you think when Joe gets the title, do you think he'd drop it? Do you think he'd say, I only won this to get Karrion Kross away from the title, so I'm putting this up in like a battle royal or something?
I don't think so. I think this is Joe's return to wrestling.
No, yeah, he would return to wrestling, but I don't. Would he stay a champion?
I think that there's good reason to have him.
I would love to see a Samoa Joe's champ, but I just wonder.
He's new now, you know, like
Yeah.
there's so many people that haven't faced him.
Yeah, Pete Dunne, Johnny.
So many people that have faced him, but we haven't seen it in a while, and we didn't think we'd ever see it again.
Can't get Finn and Joe though. Can't get Oh, would have been really good. Austin Theory versus Samoa Joe. That would have been a great match. Cameron Grimes versus Samoa Joe. Ooh.
Austin Theory does turn like plum purple when he gets choked out, so that'd be great.
All right, so best of the night. Miriam said, "What about the One Ring theory about the NXT title that it corrupts any man who touches it? Joe's not going to give it up." That's fair. That's a good point. Although it didn't corrupt Finn. At least in his latest run. I feel like he wasn't corrupted by it. Don't you think?
I think so.
You think
I
he
think
was?
he's doing really well.
Oh.
Yeah. I said I think he's like, I don't think he agree with you.
That he wasn't corrupted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So. Promo of the night. Oh, this one's tough. Oh, no, it's not. I know exactly what I want. Oh, actually, with the NXT title going to the corruption again, it did corrupt Finn. Because after he got his jaw broken, yeah, that wasn't very good. But actually, Keith Lee was a worse example of being corrupted by it. So, I take that back.
Yeah, no, Keith Lee was watered down in the worst possible way.
I'm just talking about in NXT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what this is talking about. That's what Miriam's talking about.
I get it.
So, promo of the night. You want me to just say it, or do you want me to go through promos? I feel like once I say it, you'll agree.
Okay.
Walter and Ilya, prime target.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's a promo of the night. It was fantastic. It was those prime targets are always so well done every single time. They hype up the matches so well. What was the last one? Was it Io and Raquel? Or was it Cole and O'Reilly?
Kyle and Adam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um so now Wrestler of the Night. I know what I'm picking. Do you know who you're picking?
No.
You want me to run through them?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't fly through everything, buddy.
I'm so
Skippy.
I know I'm so confident in these picks. Anyway, so first match, Hit Row versus Legato. My pick's Ashante Adonis. He's got such high energy in his matches. He's so fun to watch. He's got a lot of spirit, and he shows off his character so well. Second place in this match, Top Dollar. Him and Ashante together have incredible chemistry, and Top Dollar is fantastic in the ring. He's like athletic while also being massive.
He looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, he's having so much fun. He's got immense charisma. But Ashante just brings so much amazing technique to his matches. After that, we had Ridge Holland versus Ikemen Jiro. I'll go with Ridge. Ikemen didn't do a whole lot. He didn't get off any offense, really. So
He sold really well, though.
yeah. If there's one thing 205 Live guys are really good at, it's selling. After that, we had Bobby Fish versus Roderick Strong. I'm going with Roddy. God, dropped my phone.
I'm going with Roddy. Touchdown.
Yeah, Roddy was so much fun to watch in the match. It's just straight up pure wrestling, and Roddy is incredible at it. Yeah. He and being in Diamond Mine works perfectly for him because it's not a very larger than life faction, so he doesn't need to like amp up a character or anything. He can just wrestle and just be an incredible fighter, and that's perfect for his character.
Do you want to say that I think that Bobby Fish is still doing so well in spite of his age?
Yeah.
It's still so much fun to watch, and like you can still see that like his skills haven't waned.
It's still like it's very clear that they don't know what to do with him now.
It's true.
Like, especially since he was gone for so long during the whole Undisputed Era breakup, that he missed out on a lot of key puzzle pieces that would be needed to build whatever they're trying to build right now. After that, we had Cameron Grimes and LA Knight versus GYV. I'm going with Cameron Grimes. The dude not only is an incredible wrestler, especially when he was in that 1-on-2, he put his heart and soul into this match, gave us some incredible spots, and really showed off his character the entire way. Also, while wearing a butler suit for the entire match. Cameron Grimes is a hugely underrated performer, and he's capable of so much, and I want to see him in the main event scene again soon. After that, we had Trey Baxter versus Joe Gacy. I'll go with Trey Baxter, mostly for that 450 stomp. That was insane. Everything else was good. But that move itself was just fantastic. And finally, Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis. Love it, love her, or leave her match. I almost want to say love it or list it. Love her or list her. It's Johnny. I mean, Dexter is an incredible wrestler and performer all the time, every match he's in, but Johnny knocked it out of the park today. When he looked at Indy and just, I forget what he said to her. You remember what he said? Like
No.
It was right after he gave the DDT to Dexter outside the ring, and he just looked at Indy, said something to her, but it was said so genuinely, like so. It
I think he
felt,
said something like, "He's no good for you."
or something like "You'll thank me later" or something.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the dude is an amazing performer. Whether it's in the ring or character wise, he's one of the best NXT has. But my pick for Wrestler of the Night is not Johnny Gargano.
Okay.
It's actually Cameron Grimes.
Okay.
You disagree?
Do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who was your pick?
I'd probably go with Roddy. I thought he looked really good
I
tonight.
watching that match, and I knew you were gonna pick one of them for best of the night for some reason. I just knew it.
Sorry, I was enchanted.
You were
Absolutely
enchanted.
enchanted.
Now, why was Roddy better than both Cameron Grimes and Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not agreeing with you. I'm sticking with Cameron Grimes.
I just think you're wrong. I think that Roddy was really good tonight. I think he looked really good.
Well,
Now, I would settle on Johnny if you wanted to settle on Johnny.
how dare you take away Cameron Grimes? Take away this moment from him after he struggled in a 1-on-2 in a butler suit. No, I'm sticking with Cameron Grimes.
All right.
And now we leave it up to the chat to be the tiebreaker. Everyone in the chat, let us know whether you pick Cameron Grimes or Roderick Strong as your pick for Wrestler of the Night. Miriam's already said Cameron Grimes deserves it tonight. So right now, lean it towards me. All right. So now we go to match of the night. While the chat figures it out, Brewhammer also agrees Cameron Grimes.
Versus to both of you.
So it looks like it until a wave of people comes in and disagrees. Looks like it'll be going towards Cameron Grimes. But now, while that is going down, let's talk about the match of the night. And how we're doing things on match of the night now is we go in my rankings from worst to best. And then Liz will say if she agrees or not. So
Yeah, I won't.
maybe you won't, then I just win. So with a 5 out of 10, least favorite match of the night, Ridge Holland versus Ikemen Jiro. It was a squash. That's really all. I mean, it was a fine match that served its purpose. Ridge Holland it was nice to see him back. But yeah, it was fine. Next up, 6 out of 10, Trey Baxter versus Joe Gacy. It was fun. The 450 stomp was fun. Made it a lot more interesting. But yeah, I wasn't too invested in the match. After that, we had 6 out of 10. Sorry, 6 out of 10. Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma. Super fun match. That would be ranked a lot higher if it didn't end in DQ, but the DQ was funny. Next up, 7 out of 10. Cameron Grimes and LA Knight versus Grizzled Young Veterans, soon to be 7 out of 10. Yeah, this match was a ton of fun. The only thing that kind of soured it for me was LA Knight basically pulling Eva Marie, not really like switching it up at all. He literally did the same exact thing Eva Marie did.
Yeah.
But Cameron Grimes pulling off the 1-on-2 and still losing was so much fun to watch. All right, then another 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Bobby Fish versus Roderick Strong. It was a fun wrestling match. Pure wrestling. Great to watch. Very enjoyable. Just didn't have like another level to it. Didn't have a third dimension. Especially given that these two were former faction mates, former stable mates. You would have thought there'd be a little more heart or emotion in this match. But it was just pure wrestling. It was still fun. It was just missing that added piece. Right, and finally, with a 9 out of 10, the match of the night, in my opinion, Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis. This match had everything. Incredible wrestling. Wonderful storytelling. Beats that made it so much more emotional and immersive. It was a once in a lifetime match right here, or once in a few years match. It was great. It was so good. I'm torn whether I want to give this a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah. Do you agree?
I do agree. For once.
All right. Great. So, to run it back, promo of the night. Dragunov versus Walter Prime Target. Wrestler of the night, Cameron Grimes. Match of the night, Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis. All right. I should have mentioned this before, but now we have our question segment. If you're watching in chat, leave your question for us right now. If you're watching on YouTube, leave your question in the comments and we will get to it in the next podcast. While Twitch, our lovely Twitch viewers, write out their questions, I've got a question from YouTube. So Milam asked, in anticipation of the Dynamite post-show, Dynamite hits the mark on quite a few things, but where do you think they're still falling short as a wrestling show? Production, probably.
My answer is going to ignore what's happened tonight on Dark. But I don't know.
Definitely better, like they're missing a lot of attention to the music and the entrance themes. That's one thing that I've noticed.
Yeah. I think another thing that they don't quite have a ton of right now are promos that like various sort of story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are just call outs and stuff like that. And I think that certain storylines it would help to have promos that are carry the narrative past the ring.
I'm trying to think if there are any examples. Well, there's Hangman Page and Kenny, is like they're best friends. They're a tag team. I'm trying to think if there are others. Really blanking right now. I don't know. But well, actually, I'd say the Nightmare Factory split up. That was very out of the ring. Because that was just like QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes, hating each other and splitting up their training.
Right, but you've listed two things that have happened over the course of the last 6 months.
And we also haven't been watching for very long. So.
Right, which I'm just saying that we've gotten the amount of times that we've gotten promos that carry on a storyline outside of the ring in the WWE versus AEW is significantly more often.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I am. I was just trying to think of some that have happened. So Brewhammer asks, is Raquel going to main roster after Dakota beats her for the title? She is 100% a main roster person. Like,
She's a main roster person for sure.
You see, the weird thing is, we've been able to tell who's going up to the main roster because of like who we've been seeing in dark matches. And Raquel hasn't been among those names. Like even Carrion was in those names. And with like Finn and Tony Storm, they have history on the main roster already. If not on the main roster, then wrestling in main roster matches. Raquel's never had that, so if they were trying to poach her for the main roster, we would have seen her in those dark matches or main event matches. And similarly, Miriam asked if Indy's getting called up.
I'm less convinced of that, because she's still so fresh.
Mm-hmm.
It is telling. You said that Raquel hasn't been in any dark matches, right?
Right.
Okay, that's what I thought. Indy also hasn't been.
She has been.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. I still don't think so. I think that she's still got a little bit of time that she needs to spend in developmental, if that's what we can call NXT. I think she needs a little bit longer, and I think that there isn't quite a place for someone like her on main roster yet.
Mm-hmm.
With Raquel, I would say I don't know if she's getting called up, but I think that it would make sense if she was.
Yeah, I think with Raquel, it's like Raquel and Dexter Lumis, where Triple H knew Vince was coming to the Performance Center to like poach some talent, and he just told them not to come in that day. Just told Raquel and Dexter to stay home. Miriam also asked, what are our guys' thoughts on the Chris Bay Jay White team up lately? I love.
My thoughts are.
I love.
Me happy.
I love that they're kind of doing like a. Oh, you're not really in Bullet Club. You still gotta like prove it. Which
I just love that Jay's like very unsure as to whether or not he wants this to even happen. And Chris Bay is so down for it.
Yeah, Jay just wants somebody to team up with him against FinJuice. Meanwhile, Chris wants to be in Bullet Club.
This is like, I want a friend.
I want to meet Ghetto.
Don't we all? Yeah, I really love it. I love that this is not what I was expecting when we got Jay. So I've been loving the fact that we've been getting him, and not just getting Jay, but also getting Jay interacting with another person.
Yeah.
We haven't really, I mean, obviously I don't watch NJPW that often, but I know from some of the promos I've seen, this is a little different from what he's normally involved in.
Yeah. I thought we were just going to be getting Jay and Kenny having a little feud, but now it seems like I'm not a huge fan of him coming after FinJuice. Like, that's the reason he's there.
I mean, that makes sense, though. That's been, like, his entire thing.
Yeah, but he's, like, given no attention to Kenny besides that one little face-to-face.
Right, but I think the whole thing is that that's not the point. The whole point that the whole reason he's there is because FinJuice fucked up his entire like pathway to the championship. I think that like it makes sense that he's there and he's like, I don't give a fuck about this guy over here. And I think that's the best way that they could have treated it because everyone gives a fuck about Kenny.
Yeah,
For Jay to come through and be like, I don't care, just puts him at like a higher level in a way where it's like,
I would love to see Kenny have some promos at least where he's like kind of annoyed that he's not getting attention from Jay.
I would prefer to see that. I like seeing Jay not give a shit. I would love to see Kenny give a shit.
Mm-hmm. It would fit his character.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping that Jay's over at Impact for like a little while because I am enjoying every second of this.
It would be great if Kenny's so annoyed by Jay not giving him attention and then Josh Alexander comes up and is like wants the title, and in this vulnerable state he's able to beat Kenny. Like that could be a lot of fun.
Could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I also am kind of happy that like it seems like Kenny's got like his 5 titles and he's like, this is good.
4.
This is fine. 4. Just like the like also wasn't automatically like he was gonna go after Jay's title.
Yeah. I think he wouldn't be able to carry another title.
So either.
He should go after the Universal title. Fight Roman.
Yeah, that would be so fun and
Storm
something we will never ever get.
Storm in on a live show.
Imagine not knowing anything about the Forbidden Door being opened and then all of a sudden it's just Kenny and you're like,
yeah. You know what would be a great twist is Hangman Page showing up on Impact. Going after Kenny there.
could be interesting.
I don't know what the deal would be between the two companies, but I feel like that'd be pretty interesting.
I think that their mobility is interesting as it is on its own.
Yeah.
Mobility that exists outside of the WWE is just thrilling.
Yeah. All right, so that's all the questions we have. Liz, would you like to close out the show?
I would. If you tuned in tonight, thank you so much. And if you tuned in the future, thank you so much. Happy August.
Yep. Yeah.
Boy, did you like this show? If you liked this show, tune in tomorrow because we'll be doing another one. We're going to be doing our AEW Dynamite post show where all I'm going to talk about is Everrise.
Well, no.
Ready for that? That's all I'm talking about.
No.
Not talking about anything else.
They're not even Everrise anymore.
No, I don't even know what they're called.
They're 2.0.
Sick. We're going to be talking about 2.0 the whole night.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to check out all of our previous episodes and catch up on all of the wrestling that's happened, our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the live show, twitch.tv/the Pinfall Podcast. Our Twitter is at Pinfall Podcast. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And we'll see you all tomorrow for AEW Dynamite. Thank you all so much for watching.